I am so excited today to talk to you about how you can bring your slides to life with stop motion animation. And you can create these opportunities and invite your students to join you in creating with Google Slides and Screencastify. We're going to talk about how you can find opportunities to invite your students as co creators to retell a story using stop motion animation, how they can animate vocabulary, how they can demonstrate cause and effect relationships from their social studies units, from their science units, from direct relationships and reading from their ELA. You can animate a process that demonstrates any kind of math problem or word problem solving, any kind of scientific study or unit. Students can create and animate poems, and you can use this as an option for choice, where you want to increase opportunities for students to co create material for learning or demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. I can tell you that offering this as choice is another great way for a student to have an option in how they want to show what they've learned and how they want to act on that learning. I want to show you a few examples so you can see what it looks like and then walk you through how students can very easily do this with Google Slides. Right now on your screen, you're looking at an adapted Frayer model for the vocabulary word conduct. This was a word that our middle school was focusing on, and students were asked to define the word and write the word in a full sentence. We offer the opportunity for students to create animations of the word and record that in Screencastify. So what you're looking at below is an animation of the word conduct, or in this case, this person wishing to be a conductor of a train. And this was an animation that is very quickly made within Google Slides. So you can see this live. It looks just like this. And you can see how engaging and exciting that can be. What you'll see as you build your Google Slides is that you can add the elements that you would like in your animation. I often encourage students to utilize the space on the side of the slide as it doesn't show in slideshow mode, and they can use that to begin bringing elements into their story. I encourage students to just duplicate their slide and then add an element or scooch an element slightly before hitting duplicate and moving it again. In this case, you can see what this animation looks like where I'm making the thought bubble a little bit larger. And in an animation, it looks like that as I'm just toggling with my mouse up and down. As I step through each slide, and you can see as I've duplicated and added and maybe moved or scooched, I'm able to bring in these elements that begin to animate this process. Here's an example of using this gray space on the side where in slideshow mode, you're only seeing this particular part of the train. And as I duplicate my slides and move my train just a little bit each time, creates that animation effect. And if I wanted to, I can also add animation effects with the smoke to give that a more realistic look. What's really exciting about using Screencastify is that my students can turn the extension on and record as they navigate through slideshow mode and have that animation ready to go. My students can also download that animation as a GIF through the Screencastify platform, which I will show you. And that way they're able to just upload it directly onto a template. My students are also able to just keep that recording in their Screencastify account and use Screencastify to share a QR code. If I wanted to have this printed or start to build a vocabulary word wall that brings this word to life. What I wanted to show you is a few more examples, and then I'll show you how to do this in the platform. Here's an example of taking a map from the unit and book study of Ulysses, where my students were learning about the voyage of Ulysses' ship from Troy to Ismarus and then down to Cythera. to bring this to life, I was able to use my insert image to pull in an image of a ship, and I could start this journey. I'm just going to bring this to the front so we can see it. And I'm going to start this journey by then duplicating my slide and then moving my ship to the part that I would like it to go to. I'll continue duplicating my slide and moving the ship through the map. And my students can work on this to demonstrate the journey and the path that Ulysses and his men traveled as we either read the book together and we can work on this cumulatively. And my students can also do this as an option to bring this story to life. So you'll see I'm duplicating and moving ever so slightly. And I'm going back up to my slide. When I hit slideshow mode, what you'll see is those kind of white flashes happening, which is okay. What I do is I encourage my students to move through the slide deck once. And so now you'll see that I'm toggling through with my mouse and I'm able to control that flow and really highlight and bring this map to life by adding those simple animations in. I want to show you another example. This was actually something that a student had created on her own. So I've done this lesson with my students for vocabulary words. She chose to do this for science. She asked her science teacher if, while they studied the digestive system, if they could have option and choice in how they want to show this. And I will take you through just a little bit so you can see. This is where she is. She's going to animate a journey of this candy. And again, you can see the white flashing. So if I go back, you'll see it's the digestion carnival, and she's going to have the candy, and she's added some text. And what's going to happen is an animation of that process. So you can see that students are very easily able to animate a scientific process to demonstrate learning and understanding in math. And this is a final example to show you this is an entire class project. So students can choose to make their own animations and submit it directly to me. Like I said before, they're able to insert it and upload it directly onto a slide if they wanted to bring something to life. I've had students, we create animations with a QR code on our wall to have a physical word wall space. This was a classroom dictionary for the book Refugee that the entire grade level was reading. And we had a list of vocabulary words selected by their teacher. So what we did, we had a classroom master in our Google Classroom, and students were asked to pick a word. Each one was responsible for a different vocabulary word, where they had the definition and sentence that was created from the teacher from the classroom. And their task was to create their own animation. So they each had their own Google Slides where they made animations of the vocabulary word. And in our Screencastify account, so what you can choose to do is record either your desktop or your webcam if you wanted to have a GIF or an animation of just yourself or something physical with the camera. Either way, that recording will open up in your account. And what you will have the option to do is export that video as a GIF, which means that you would be able to just download that directly to your computer. And when that's done, then you're able to then upload it where you need it to be, which is what I did with my students. And the other option is that you're able to share this out via QR code. So by clicking this, I'm able to copy that code. I'm able to make that animation come to life, and I'm able to take this QR code and put it wherever I need it to be around my classroom, on a bulletin board for the word wall. And what you'll notice is when this is done exporting, it'll be 100%, and I'll be prompted with an arrow to download it and then upload it to my account. I want you to see the view from a student account because their view looks a little bit different, but really not much. They still have the ability to export that, and they have the ability to share with the QR code. So anything that you're asking them to do, they're going to be able to do that on their own. And what we had done with this class template is that once they had made their recording of their Google Slides and they've stepped through that animation, they hit record desktop. Once they're in their account, they exported this as a GIF that gave them the opportunity to download. So once again, I'll let you kind of take a peek at what that looks like. They download, and then what they did was they opened up our class template. See? So that just downloads. And from the class template, they found the word that they were asked to animate, and they just inserted that from their computer. So it was a very easy process for students. They were very excited, very motivated to show their learning. And as I scroll through each of these words, you can see that these were students designed and supporting our work, but allowing students the opportunity to act on their learning. Research tells us that being able to act on your learning and demonstrate your learning in this way is going to help with retention. It's going to help reduce that cognitive load of trying to memorize because it's brought it to life. And each student was able to then demonstrate this word in front of the class. And they were very proud to stand up and say, this is what I worked on. This is why I designed it this way. And it was a very exciting opportunity. So let's add on another level. So inviting students to co-create along with us. We talked about using desktop recording. We briefly talked about how you can turn on the webcam and just record actions. And so I wanted to show you in action modifying a book for vocabulary. All I have to do is turn the webcam on with my extension and record my students, or ask my students to record themselves acting out vocabulary from a book. So in this book, Bugs, I had someone act out the word searching. And the same process through my account where I have that webcam recording and I download it as a GIF and I'm able to put it in my Google Slides. Now, I did happen to use a background remover, but you don't have to do that. And you can see through the book, the next word was munching, the next word was marching, and the next word was cocooning. And so you can take that book and bring that vocabulary to life for students. You know that this will support vocabulary and language acquisition for our English language learners, for students that are in our pre-K through fourth grade classrooms. We can take higher level books and also enhance vocabulary with GIFs and video GIFs in older grades. The opportunities are truly endless. As a speech pathologist, I can use this within my sessions to help my students either study, review, or send work home. So it's so exciting. Just to bring us back to where we were before, as a quick wrap up, thinking about what your work is, what you do, you can use this for yourself if you wanted to show anything in your lesson. But you can also ask students to co-design and co-create along with you for your lessons, or give this as an assignment or choice for students to act on and demonstrate their learning in a different and super exciting way. We would love it if you encourage your students to make these and then you share it with us on social media, tag us at Screencastify. Let us see what you are creating. It's so much fun. And once you get students started, they will not want to stop and they will start making their own to show their learning.